And you would and did.
I did. A melancholy trails to Jim Brown. The first sentence in any review of Jim Brown's life says he was the greatest running back of all time, and arguably, and I would argue for it, the greatest football player of all time. The second sentence says that Brown left football while still in his prime to become a Hollywood actor. The third sentence talks about Brown's outspoken commitment to civil rights for all, his ceaseless work on behalf of equality, and his efforts to get gangs to stop shooting and killing each other. And the fourth sentence talks about the accusations that Brown was physically violent towards women and how this tarnished his reputation and legacy. Brown led a complicated life. There is no smooth path here.
Tony, I'm going to zero in for a second on the part about concentrating on gangs and members and getting them to stop shooting and killing each other in the aftermath of Rodney King and the riots here in Los Angeles, where I sit now, when the city was burning. Jim Brown summoned...
Happy time, people. Happy 21st birthday, Anthony Richardson. The recent Florida quarterback was the talk of the combine. Richardson showed freakish athletic abilities, jumped way up on draft boards. He was the third quarterback taken behind Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, and the fourth overall pick. Richardson is now an Indianapolis Colt, and the organization is hoping he can stop the recent trend of one-and-done veteran quarterbacks like Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, and Matt Ryan, who either retired, were traded, or released in the last 3 years. Richardson's upside is how fast and strong he is. His downside is his rather mediocre numbers at Florida last year. 53.8 completion percentage, 17 touchdowns, 9 interceptions.
Oh, I can think of a lot of quarterbacks who would take 17 and 9. You know, almost a 2-to-1 ratio. I do, Tony. Look, he's got some improving to do, but that's what they hire these coaches and pay them all this money now. Player development. Let's go now.
Happy anniversary, Larry Bird and Dominique Wilkins. On this day 35 years ago, these two Hall of Fame-bound players locked up in an epic Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. Wilkins could never, ever get the best of Bird, but he sure tried. Wilkins made 19 of 33 shots. He scored 47 points. But Bird saved it all for the fourth quarter, the money quarter. Bird made 9 of 10 shots in the fourth, scored 20 of his 34 points when they counted the most.
He invited me to this house to the meeting, and Ted Koppel and Nightline, among others, were there. And I went to this thinking, well, there's got to be some armed security there because you got Crips and Bloods, active members of these notorious gangs, and they're coming together on what might happen. Here's what happened. Jim Brown said to them, lay your arms down. You're not bringing them in my house. And he had the kind of authority and just the presence and the aura that they did. They laid them down. And from his...
Easy to stick in a corner.
Tony, you know, you can make some comparisons between Carmelo Anthony and Dominique Wilkins. They're both way up, I believe,